Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Priya Nagraj. I'm the COO of Pune Knowledge Cluster. We'll begin the session today by a brief introduction about our organization, Pune Knowledge Cluster, followed by a context to this series and then, of course, to our esteemed speaker today. So Pune Knowledge Cluster is established by the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, which is a central government body. And we are located in Pune. In Pune, we are hosted by the Inter-University of Astronomy and Astrophysics, AYUCA, which is a UGC-supported institution. We are 2 years old, and the mandate of this cluster is essentially to be able to bring together various organizations in and around the city of Pune, which includes academic organizations, research, industry, civic bodies, NGOs, to work together for the betterment of the city. A key vertical that our organization focuses on is capacity building, through which we aim to upskill youth, working professionals, students on new age skills that will be needed for employment, for research, and for various science and technology-based activities in the coming years. We conduct a lot of outreach activities as well as workshops, courses, training programs, etc. STEM education as part of capacity building is a very key focus area for us. For those who don't know what STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And through the various initiatives that we conduct, we hope to promote STEM education right from the high school level all the way to college, graduate, as well as postgraduate and above. This even includes entrepreneurship. As part of our STEM education initiative, we have a very strong emphasis on promoting women in STEM with the intent of encouraging more women to take up careers, whether it's research or whether it's industry or entrepreneurial careers in the fields of STEM, and pursue these careers successfully. Through these initiatives, we have been supported by BASF Chemicals India, to launch a program called Vigyan. Vigyan is a scholarship and mentorship program for women in chemistry. Through this program, we fund scholarships for bachelor's as well as master's program level students to do their research projects as part of their curriculum. And we also give a certain amount of seed grant as prototyping funding for those who want to demonstrate a proof of concept or prototype for their entrepreneurial idea. The call for this program closes on 31st of July, and we will be sharing information on the chat box about how you can access this program and how you can apply for it. And if you have any questions about this program, we have shared our contact information, so please reach out. Tomorrow is the last day for application. While we launched this program, we realized that in addition to, of course, providing monetary support, there is a huge dearth of access to women role models in the spaces of chemistry and, of course, other allied areas of STEM. We hear about a lot of women doing very well in this space, sometimes through news articles, sometimes through research journals, and of course, through social media. But as students, many of you never get a chance to actually interact with them, talk to them, and understand their lives and understand their career journeys and how they got to where they are. In that context, we have launched this series, which is Conversations with Women Role Models in STEM. And we're very, very happy to have Professor Sadhana Sathaye as our second speaker in this series. She's a professor of pharmacy in the Institute of Chemical Technology, or ICT, formerly known as UDCT, in Mumbai. Professor Sathaye works in the field of pharmacology and toxicology with an academic experience of over 32 years. Her research focuses on developing novel therapeutic interventions for neurological disorders like epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and metabolic disorders like diabetes and related complications. She has over 116 national and international publications and has been a renowned speaker in several esteemed national and international conferences. She also serves as a consultant to the global pharmaceutical industry, where she extends her services in regulatory toxicity studies and pharmaco-dynamic evaluation. Professor Satya has mentored several graduate, postgraduate, and PhD students to pursue successful careers in the pharmaceutical space. She identifies herself as a global researcher and has fostered strong academia-industry partnerships. In addition to her scientific pursuits, she's a fitness enthusiast and accomplished yoga trainer and also enjoys outdoor adventures. Welcome, Professor Sathaye. Thank you very much for agreeing to be on this forum and giving this and being with us today and joining us in this conversation. I request you to present about your pursuit of a research career in drug discovery, followed by which, of course, we will open the floor for questions in a moderated session. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Priya. I mean, I'm so humbled listening to my introduction, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to share my journey, my experiences throughout this nice journey. I enjoyed every bit of it. So let me take you through. I am Professor Sadhana Sathaye, as Dr. Priya told, and this slide depicts the human brain, and particularly the epilepsy generation for that matter. So yeah, let me just take you through my presentation. Yeah. So this is my current team who are with me right now, who are pursuing their PhDs. The top line represents the PhD graduates, students, and the bottom line represents the master students who are pursuing their master's degree with me. And the current students, particularly Simran and her co-author, they have helped me in doing this excellent presentation. I hope you will enjoy. Yeah, let me go through. So this is my journey. Like I just started my finished my SSC in from Balmond Vidya Mandir, which is a vernacular Marathi medium school in Dadar. Finished 12th standard, and then in spite of getting admission to medical field, KEM and JJ, I thought and I pursued pharmacy because I wanted to work in this particular area of drug discovery for many of the disorders. I finished my B Pharm and then my M Pharm in 1986. And I took a gap of about 4 years for looking after my family. My son was born, and so till he grew up a little, I did not join. But although I did not join, I kept on doing tuitions and joined back as a assistant professor in 1991. And then I joined in 1998 at ICT as a faculty assistant professor. So once I joined ICT, I immediately registered for my PhD, which was my dream to do my PhD, the highest degree in India. And so I pursued PhD in ICT. Then after my PhD and during my PhD, I kept on supervising and guiding master students. And I kept on, connecting with the industry, applying for government projects, which would give me some money to materialize my ideas, research ideas for that matter. So to tell you about the government funded projects, I did almost about 226 lakhs worth of government projects and 76 lakhs of industrial problems I solved. And so around total 300 lakh of rupees funds was utilized to pursue research at ICT. So the different government organizations like Department of Atomic Energy and BRNS, the Department of Biotechnology, the Science and Technology, All India Institute of Technical Education. And currently, recently, I work with under the aegis of DST with a grant for COVID, that was Indo-US project, which was given to us at ICT, and Indo-Hungarian grant is currently ongoing. So I'm just trying to tell you, through Indian government, we could collaborate internationally with big institutes. And these are all my industry partners. Out of them, most of them are Indians, except Life Science Incorporation, which is a American company which deals with pets, the medicines, veterinary medicines for that matter. Dr. Parleps is a company which deals with women's and children health and many other companies. There are some Ayurvedic companies also with whom I collaborate. Only objective was to help everybody in a scientific manner. Like if Ayurvedic companies came to me saying that, Madam, can we do toxicity studies of this, or can we endorse mechanism of action of a particular compound, or if we could, understand what are the phytoactives or chemicals which are present in a particular herb that is being marketed as an Ayurvedic substance. I have collaborated with everybody, and I have learned a lot all through this journey. Meaning, it was really fun to move around, in different spaces like these. Then came the international collaborations, where this is also uh, collaborations. I mean, between the Department of Science and Technology and the UK government. So this is a Newton Baba fellowship which is given to a student who applies for it, and that student has to be a gold medalist for his masters. And I collaborated with Professor Paul Francis and Professor Susan Duty of King's College London. So with this collaborations also, I got to understand many new ideas which they had, and I literally, picked them up. I literally started using them, of course, with their help. But then it was so much learning through this international collaboration, and definitely they have a better edge over us. Then Commonwealth scholarships, Professor Afshan Malik, again from King's College London, and this was between DBT and Commonwealth scholarships. And with her, I learned about mitochondrial dysfunctions and mitochondrial enzyme estimations, and how in the whole human body, how a particular cell works, and how the mitochondria also, we can look into the molecular mechanisms of various chemicals using these small organelles, cellular organelles, and can endorse the mechanisms of action of different drugs, or toxicities or efficacy, etc. So um, two more. This is Indo-Hungary again with DST, and Indo-US again with DST. So in Indo-Hungary, the collaboration is currently going on. One of my students is working, Radni is working on this Indo-Hungary project, which is about anti-Alzheimer drug, and they have a different biomarker to look into. So they are going to help us with the in vitro, meaning outside the animal body studies, and we are going to do the preclinical studies with animals, preclinical animals. And Indo-US project was about formulation of ivermectin combination in the treatment of COVID, that is acute respiratory distress syndrome. The project really went very well. It was only for 9 months, but we could make a formulation, we could test it, evaluate it for its bioavailability and its antiviral activity. And we have also applied for a Indian patent along with the company LifeSign, which I just showed you, which works in the pet areas, but this time they collaborated with us for human therapeutics. So the patent is filed for this technology. Now, more than these research projects, it was really very interesting to have designed and developed a 2-week faculty development program. And this was particularly for pharma teachers and teachers from biology stream under the ages of PMM NMTT. The full form is given here. It is a Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya scheme. And here you teach the trainers, you train the trainers, and we organize the FDP on clinical data management, which is a latest kind of what you say, it's a hot subject as far as the clinical trials go on. And lot of artificial intelligence has come in there, and students are really unable to understand what is this. And so, to start, start early, we started this program so that, we taught the teachers first, so that now the teachers can include this in their syllabus. So it was a 2-week faculty development program. We did 2 such programs, and almost 60 faculty members across India, they availed this opportunity of learning clinical data management from the clinical data management and clinical industry experts in India. So, it was very difficult coordinating and designing the syllabus. But then, yes, I learned a lot of things, a lot of patience, and I was so happy at the end of it when the teachers found it so useful, and now they'll definitely add it to their curriculum or syllabus for the betterment or for the benefit of the students. So now coming to my lab, my work, what I do. So these are some equipments that we have. This is a data acquisition system, which has a lot of um, equipments. You can attach it to them, and the data is taken, acquired. And so, there is no bias. This is a data acquisition system with different equipments, and this is metabolic cages for rats, wherein you measure the metabolism, the urinary excretion, and fecal excretion of rats, and actually measure it for activity of a particular drug. Then we have this anticonvulsant drug evaluation. So convulsions can be induced using electrodes. We have zebrafish facility, and I just wanted to show you one nice equipment here, which otherwise is very expensive. A tensiometer that measures the bone mechanical strength goes in lakhs, but one of my students, Dr. Rahul Chaudhary, who devised this in just few thousand rupees. And so, this is a 3-point bone mechanical strength testing equipment, wherein, you just give force, then this force can be measured. So you don't need to use a tensiometer. You simply use a vernier caliper in between, wherein you just to hold your bone and measure the force. So, and this again, another equipment, kind of, you call this enriched environment, which is actually a rabbit's cage. And then we have Sachin Patil was the student, Dr. Sachin Patil, who was working under Newton Baba, and this simple environment that he made for rats. There are slides, and there are games for the rats to play. There are benches for the rats to sit, and only 2 rats were kept in this whole assembly, enriched environment. And what he showed, what he proved was that it is the enriched environment which is necessary for neurogenesis, meaning making of new neuronal cells. Such a simple thing that he could prove using the molecular biomarkers and different behavioral tests. So all that it requires is good understanding of the subject and correlating what exactly you want to achieve and making such assembly. Now this definitely require much money. All these things are so cheap and available everywhere in Mumbai. Now coming to publications, I have got about 116 publications, and yeah, Priya has already talked about it. Now let me tell you about the technologies which have materialized. So we have eye drops for cataract, which the technology we have patented. This is the flower, and the extract of this flower has we have made this eye drop formulation. Then we have nasal drops for epilepsy. So one of my students who is Dr. Farooq Sheikh, who has joined today's meeting. He is a researcher and an associate professor at Monash University at Malaysia. I'm really proud of him. He started with the whole epilepsy, and he's still working in the field of epilepsy. So he started with Eclipta alba, and other students carried it on after Farooq, and now we have been able to make a formulation, a nasal formulation, that can be added into the we have also patented this. Another interesting thing that I want to tell you, that this is vadilolactone, which is around 10,000 rupees per milligram. And my student has isolated it from Eclipta. Eclipta is nothing but Bringaraj or Maca that we use for hair growth. So from that, which is a perennial plant in India, he has isolated this vadilolactone at much cheaper cost. We have patented. Now we are working on herbal tea currently, and this tea is for upper respiratory tract infections. The studies are going on, will soon patent it, but the technology has already materialized. You can see this spray dried powder. So you don't need to make the decoction now. You just need to buy this powder. You just need to dissolve it in a cup of water and drink it for your upper respiratory tract infections. My students who are working on it have joined today's meeting, Chaitrali and Omkar. This is about a dog collar, which is pest repellent, and this is with collaboration with Life Sign, and this is a collar which is made at iCity, and these are the fleas, pests, and you can see after 1 month or so, the collar repels the pest. So the collar has got the medications in it, which just keeps on coming out slowly, controlled release, and that's how it takes care of the pest. And this is under aegis of Indo-US Fund, formulations of ivermectin combination, of course, in the treatment of acute lung injury as in corona. And we've got wonderful results. We have patented it. Now we are waiting for uh, people to show interest and take this technology forward so that society can make use of it. Okay, 1 minute. There's some glitch I feel. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So coming to my research students, I have 19 PhD degrees being awarded from my lab, 37 masters, 22 bioprocess technology students, meaning these students are the ones who are working in the area of isolation of actives and purification of them. Downstream processing, purification is given more importance in bioprocess technology, and pharmaceutical biotechnology is where you explore the molecular mechanisms of different drug substances. So I am very proud to tell you that 3 of my students have been entrepreneurs. Tushar Gavre, who has made this solar dryer, and it has literally gone to whole of Maharashtra, where tomatoes and fruits, those which can go waste, or even onions which can go waste, can be dried and be used. So Tushar is a co-founder of this technology. Literally, they have gone from villages to villages and explaining it to the women force there, and everybody has, like, they are really doing good because people are buying their technology. Arjun Singh Bajwa, who is into natural dyes, so he produces dyes from microbial fermentation, which are very natural. They do not burden the environment as such, and the rivers and pollution is taken control of. This, it's a startup from by Arjun and his wife, KB Calls, and the colors go to textile industries. They are also exploring it for cosmetic industries, for that matter. So these are all pigments that they have produced by microbial fermentation. And Ganesh Bhatt, I'm also very proud of him. His father has a supari farm in Belgaum, and the supari, he was so worried about the suparis going waste. So what he did is, using that material, he tried to make many nutraceutical substances like epicatechin, epigalactocatechin, catechin. So these are all antioxidant substances which we are exploring with Ganesh, meaning that's what the next thing that we'll be doing is we'll explore the activities of these different nutraceuticals that he is been obtaining. So the Farm Gulp is his technology, and he's making nutraceuticals, chemicals, and food preservatives and ingredients. So research expertise is all about I cater to all branches of pharmacology, right from in silico to the clinical studies, meaning screening of chemicals using computers, different enzyme studies in animals, and finally, I also help in making protocols for clinical studies. And these are my areas of interest wherein we evaluate and isolate substances from plants or microorganisms. We do toxicity as per the OECD guidelines and help the pharmaceutical industry. We work into diabetes and related complication areas, neurodegenerative and neurological like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and epilepsy particularly, immunomodulatory and antibody development. So this is a latest thing that we've been doing. Immunomodulatory, we work as a matter of fact for its pharmacological activity, but antibody development and early diagnosis of Parkinson's. One of my PhD students, Paramita, is working on this technology. Cell culture technologies for rapid screening of bioactivity. All my master students are doing this, and pharmacokinetics and biodistribution. So this is little what you say hyphenated, like you administer the drug to the animals and then check the behavior of the drug, how it moves in the body. So you need to know even the analytical techniques. You need to have expertise in that, and the students are doing really well here. Now, I just want to tell everyone, the new comers in this particular field, that research essentially does not need money. You don't need only money for doing research. Of course, you need money because you should respect money, because although it's not everything, it is the means to have material goods. So it does mean, but it's not that if you don't have, you can't do research. You can do research. So what it actually needs, it needs ideas. It needs ideas which come from social demands, societal demands, and the societal needs. You should have an open mind, listen to everyone. And students also tell me so many things, because see, I can't read everything. They are the ones who read, and they are the ones who meet me and who tell me, madam, I read this, can we execute this? So have an open mind, talk to them, brainstorm the issue, have your own goal, have your own objective, what you want to do in life, know that. And after knowing everything that okay, I'm going to do this, then design your study. So actual research is after that. This is before research, and this is more important. So I always tell my students, doesn't matter, even if it takes time, take your time, 3 months, 3 months, 4 months, 4 months, take it. Talk to everybody, talk to the team, and let's meet. That's the reason we meet almost every month and discuss whoever reads what, and we can have better designs and solutions. And then finally, execution. So execution, of course, it needs good kind of study design, and uh, very good design will give you good results for that matter. And coping up with research failures, yes, why not? It's not so easy. You have to keep on doing multiple experiments. If it fails, and discuss the reasons for it, why it could have gone wrong. So many times, we understand it is such a simple thing like a pH or a temperature, and then we change it and things go well. You need to have patience. You need to accept, yes, I went wrong, fine, doesn't matter. Do few more experiments, and if you feel you're getting bugged, just give it to the third person. So I always feel giving it to, for unbiased or coded or blended evaluation, give it to a third person. Just don't tell him what it is, what you're looking at. You just tell him to do XYZ experiment, him or her, and you'll get to know the result for that matter. And publish your failures. It is very important to publish, so that don't take this path. Don't go on this path. It's not the right way to do, because we have failed. So they'll understand, okay, this is what happens, and maybe they'll get to know where we went wrong, and they may amend that and take that path. Worst situation came when two of my papers were retracted. uh, Impact factor, such a high impact factor, and this was in 2020 when lockdown was going on, and maybe uh, uh, they found out via new software that some data was not correct, it was incorrect, and I tried to explain them that I had given it, outsourced a particular research. And then the publishers, they just told me that, sorry, it is your duty as a corresponding author to check that whatever that you published is correct. If it is incorrect, we have to retract it. And that really hurt me. And after that, I have never ever, meaning before that only, like now I never outsource anything. I just collaborate. I ask my students to learn that technique and then do it. I myself look into the matter. I never, you know, outsource any kind of research unless it is for third party evaluation, a validated one for that matter. So, these are lessons learned. Anyway, now we had many things, like, when there was one student who was trying to develop hypercholesterolemia, meaning increasing cholesterol levels in animals, and it wouldn't come. It wouldn't just come 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it wouldn't just come. And then finally we understood we could just change the toxicant that we have been using. We tried to change the animal species, nothing worked. But then finally changing the toxicant, it worked well. Iron deficiency anemia. Now we see so many females in India being iron deficient, but it is so difficult to make it in animals. Literally so difficult, because body tries to, balance it. So you literally have to give an iron deficient diet along with bleeding of the animal. You're like, make him deficient totally. Only then the anemia sets in. Cataract model, like when we were doing UV induced cataract model, it was really testing our patients. Very recently, while we were doing one evaluation of an IL-6 cytokine, and we used a wrong cell line, and we never got any cytokine identification from that, simply because the cell line which we used was a different cell line, not a, we used a macrophage cell line, we had to use a T cell line. So, 10,000 rupees went down the drain just to understand that where we went wrong. But yes, now we will never do that. So, there are failures also. You have to analyze it, discuss it, and underline it so as never to take that path again. Grant failures, you write so many grants, but hardly any comes your way. I mean, that's really frustrating, but never mind. You have to be, if you have to be in the game, you have to do all this. You have to have that perseverance. Lockdown was there for 8 months, and all my instruments were closed, all my equipment closed. I had to literally put in so much of money. So you have to have some savings for your rainy day, meaning your lab savings for a rainy day. Literally, it was very difficult. Almost about 8 to 9 lakh rupees were gone, and just starting the lab back to its action. And then the current promotion dismissal. So this was because I did not have any patent granted on my name. So now I never took patents, applying for patents so seriously, simply because I thought, what is there? Why do you have an intellectual property right? But then, yes, that's very important as far as your promotions are concerned. So, you can't ignore a particular fact. You have to encompass everything and take it with you and absolutely accept everything. I mean, that's the essence. And um, failures, I feel personal failures, like unfortunate circumstances which come your way, you have to accept them, talk to family and friends, be accommodative, have positive thoughts. You say have positive thoughts, have positive mind, but then it's always better when you talk to others, like enriched environment I showed you, when you have two rats kept in one cage, and the way the neurogenesis takes place. So it is a social environment which is also social interaction. It's very, very essential for you to overcome the unfortunate circumstances that you go through. And recently I had a bad health issue in 2020 after corona, and I had polymyositis, because of which I just couldn't walk. I mean, I was turned into a big mass of flesh. I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit, nothing. And it was very sad. It was sad that I was a freak, health freak, and this thing happened to me. It was autoimmunity. But then I absolutely believe the divine intervention in this, that you should get the right doctor at the right time, and positive mind, of course. And while I was reading different books, I came across this Norman Cousins, and he's like, he also had gone through similar situation like what I went through. And these are his quotes. I appreciated so much that death is not the greatest loss. The greatest loss is what dies within us while we are living. So that thing, that energy should be there in you to go forward and to do all your work. And that life is an adventure in forgiveness. Forgive even yourself. Don't just go on cursing that I did this, that's why XYZ happened. Just forgive everyone. And I absolutely enjoy this. Laughter is inner jogging. Truly, it is the inner jogging. That's the one which has all the positive chemicals in you. Abdul Kalam, I always appreciate for this. Failure is first attempt in learning, and all of you, I'm sure you would know this, but I didn't. I wanted to show you this. Never give up. Just go ahead. Efficient time management, and I always feel women are better, in managing time as such, because they have to manage the family, they have to manage household, and they have to manage their job, everything. And I think they can manage time better. But I'm sorry, because I have so many male students, those are also excellent time managers, and I appreciate them also. So time management is a key to success. Know what you're going to do tomorrow, and thank God for what you did today. And absolutely believe in no shortcut to success. There is no shortcut. It is a marathon with a steady movement towards your goal, and much more. It's much more than a marathon. Just go, breathe, breathe, breathe. Just go ahead. And I always, this is the iceberg illusion. This is a Google kind of figure. But then what you don't see is beneath the success. So many things. There's a struggle, so many doubts, and so sacrifices and disappointments and failures. But all that takes you through is your discipline and your good habits, your persistence, your hard work. That's what your courage, that's what takes you to success. And one thing I always like is capital breathe, BREATHE. Breathe, even if you're at the top of the world, breathe. So you are, on this earth itself. And even when you're totally down, and you feel there is darkness completely, breathe. So when you breathe, you feel, oh no, there is some light, and I can go there. So now I have started again walking, I've started attending office, and I started driving my car, and that gives me so much of confidence. So I always feel that collective wisdom is extremely important for any kind of research. You have to talk to each other. Whatever you read, you just brainstorm it with your team. It should be a free association. You should have an open mind. You should listen to others, and the teamwork shows in success for that matter. I always feel as a teacher that don't just go on teaching mundane things to the students. Students don't like it. You have to give it a research flavor as to how people must have discovered this, and ask them to find out about what they could do in their own way to do a particular kind of research or to study a particular kind of thing. And artificial intelligence is coming in, and we have to I want to also learn about it. I tried my bit while developing that clinical data management course, but finally you have to be above the artificial intelligence. So it is coming in a big way. You must have seen recently that there was a chess competition, and the small children were playing with the robo, and suddenly the robo got so angry with the child, it just caught its hand. So it was being aired on some channel, Beyond channel. So what I'm trying to say is that artificial intelligence is coming, but who's made it? We have made it. Human beings have made it. So we have to be above them, I feel. So we have to learn what that is and how we could be better than them. And then these are all ideal qualities. Huh? I always feel that smile is the best quality, and it is the what you say gesture which takes only 14 muscles, whereas if you frown it takes about 56 muscles and a lot of energy. That's what we were taught, right, since the beginning. And so smile, just go on smiling, it makes you feel good as well. You should have this joining the dots habit. Reading should be effective. You shouldn't waste time in reading. It should be fast, and you should pick up things and note down things, whatever is of your interest. You should have empathy for others, perseverance. You should be open to ideas, and important is zest and quest for learning. Literally, it should be, uh, you should love to learn more things. Can I do this? And learn it. It's easy. Nothing is difficult or impossible on this earth. And I like this interdisciplinary and holistic approach. That's the reason I feel whether it is homeopathy or Ayurveda or yoga or Unani or modern medicine, whatever it is, they are working on the whole body. Maybe the principles are different. Have an open mind and try to join the dots. You could give so much to the society by doing this. So this is all I wanted to say, and this is what I love. This Paulo Coelho, that when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So maybe our students will understand it better in Indian perspective. There was a movie called Om Shanti Om, and in that movie, Shah Rukh Khan says that अगर आप सच्चे दिल से चाहते हो कुछ भी, तो कायनात भी आपका साथ देती है. Meaning, the universe literally gives you that. And so, yeah, I'm open to any kind of questions now that you have. And thank you so much for your patient listening. I hope I could get across to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that was very inspiring, and that was also very honest. I really appreciated that you shared all the successes as well as you shared all the setbacks. I was particularly, I think, impressed about you sharing your retractions of your publications. I don't see many researchers actually talking very openly about it, and it's much, much needed. And your emphasis on the importance to publish and also the importance to patent. I have a couple of questions regarding, your journey. You mentioned about how you studied your school education was in vernacular medium. At
Yes.
some point, you switched to studying, learning in English. How was that like?
Very difficult, because if I tell you Marathi words for all biology, because it was biology which was very difficult. Chemistry, mathematics, nobody has issues because that's all formulae are there. That's not. But biology, the words are in Sanskrit. Like medulla oblongata is called as pascha mastishka pucha. So like I wouldn't understand what the teacher is saying. And literally, when I was in 11th standard, I used to be awake till 2 o'clock in the night, just doing the dictionary, this thing, meanings of words. It was very difficult. So, but I feel that I learned better while I was in Marathi medium school, because I was born in a Marathi family. So that was easy then, but
Yeah.
difficult. 11th and 12th was very difficult, but I could manage. 11th was difficult, 12th was fine.
Yeah, I mean, that I think in today's age, trying to tell children to switch from learning to from one language to another language seems almost impossible. So I think that itself is a great achievement. The fact that at that age you could actually switch from 18 years of education in one language to a different language, that too scientific language,
Scientific is
which is not
difficult more than
very easy.
anything.
You also spoke about choosing consciously to pursue a research in drug discovery when the conventional thing to do was maybe to become a doctor, for instance, and you got admission to do that. So this is, I'm assuming, after your 12th grade.
Yes.
Personally, I can tell you that I don't think after my 12th grade I even knew that a career in research, that means the fact that you could do a PhD, and that too in something as niche as pharmacology or drug discovery, was even possible. And I'm saying, for me, it was probably the early 2000s, and for you, it was the 1980. How did you have this clarity, or how did you have this exposure to know, first of all, that this career path exists and that you want to do it?
Okay, so it was for my father, because he's been seeing me grow up, and he knew that I don't have that empathy for a patient a doctor has for a patient. So he told me one thing, that you will never do good if you do medicine, point number one. And he was a chemist himself. And so he told me that this is a allied field. If you like to think about drugs and discovering drugs, if you're so interested in knowing about drugs, this is pharmacy is a that was very, very upcoming that time. And literally in 1983s, India started doing clinical studies then. Meaning now that we see it now, I even showed you the clinical data management, but it has started in 1980s, the clinical development in India. So few companies were there like Hext and Roche, all multinationals, but then he knew about it.
So I think you're saying it basically helped to have someone who had that knowledge to pass it on.
Yes. He was very sure that you do pharma, you will do good. And that was a very new field that time.
Yeah. So what was in that period, choosing pharma, what was the gender ratio like? Were there a lot of women who were doing this at that stage?
11 men to 5 females in UD City.
Okay.
Only 5 girl students and 11 boys. So girls were less. Now if you see, out of 30, there are around 20 girls and 10 boys.
Yeah.
The boys are less now.
Yeah. So that was actually going to be my next question. I observed that on the slide you showed about your students, 10 out of 14 of your students are women. And also while we were publicizing this talk, I think on LinkedIn and various other places, we got comments on the on the message that we had posted for this talk, appreciating you as a mentor, saying that you have played a very important role in their lives and very responsible for who they are today. I want to understand that as a mentor, what is it that you see as desirable qualities in a student? How do you give a student enough time to explore what they want to do? I know it probably takes a lot of patience from your part, but the fact that you've mentored researchers, you've mentored students who have gone on to becoming entrepreneurs, how do you identify that these are core qualities that these students can actually capitalize and exploit and do well?
So one basic quality is hard work, and you can immediately get that. Other quality is that their discipline and particular thing, they don't miss out on anything. Some students are lax, but then that's individual. I mean, otherwise, some students, I know the one vadilolactone I showed, the one who isolated that. So he was the student who did not want to do pharmacology at all. He just came and told me, madam, I don't like it. I said, okay, if you don't like it, what do you like? Let's, do that. So he said, I like herbs and I like extractions and isolations. Let's work there. And trust me, Suraj Mukhe was the student. And afterwards, he only got passionate about working on animals, and he did so much of work. So it's their quality, and you should meet every month, I feel.
Yeah.
The whole team should meet every month, so that everybody, what they talk now, like the younger ones have a different view, the PhDs have a different view, and when they connect together, when they discuss together, even the masters, instead of me teaching them, they learn more from the PhD students. That's what I've seen. I see hard work, reading effectively,
Yeah.
collating the information and presenting it. Some students have excellent presentation skills, excellent, meaning I want to learn it from them. It's so good.
And my last question to you before I open it up to everyone is that I know you spoke about it in the context of behavior, which is the importance of an enriched environment.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, clearly, I think everybody on this forum comes from a science background, even though they might be at the bachelor's level, they understand the importance of they understand probably what is neurogenesis and the importance of it. With the kind of exposure that students have today, and I don't mean generally from the science perspective, I mean from general media and everything else that they're exposed to, the amount of there is no dearth of information, and there's no dearth of how to access that information. How can you advise a student to put themselves in an enriched environment so that there is very, I don't want to use the word focused, but there is meaningful outcomes that they can take in their lives, whether it is from a career point of view, a personal standpoint. How it is, we see that it is very challenging for students to focus on one thing and do it for a very long period of time. Similarly, there's also a lot of need to put yourself in multiple environments to see how you actually, what you like to do and explore. But
True.
how do you balance these two things out, and how do you put yourself out there to learn?
Meaning me or the students?
No, the students.
So, many a times the students, they really get bogged down when they are doing some essays, and when they do not get a particular answer which they are looking out for. And it's many a times it's that they are tired because the whole day they work. In the night, they'll go and I just tell them to close everything. Just close everything. And I don't ever push them कि नहीं मुझे चाहिए कल चाहिए परसों. No, nothing like that. It automatically comes. One night's sleep, good sleep, and the next day, coming to the lab and just chilling out with your peers and talking to them, you come to know where things have gone wrong. Just discuss it with everyone. I don't push them ever. Never. And that's what is needed. And you have to talk to each other. You have to talk. If this is what is happening, you can't hide it, and you can't hold it onto yourself, onto with you. Just be open that this has happened. Can you help? I mean, is it possible for you to help? Now, when they do animal studies, they're really tired because they have to dose the animals. They have to take them into behavioral studies, and uh, uh, they have animal, meaning literally surgeries go on in the animal house. They get tired, so you need help. So I tell the whole gang, be with this person today, and because you need to make buffers, you need to label them rightly so that you get good results. Your design is there, but you need people with you. So, and when you work in a team, now when you talk to each other and work, things automatically happen well. In working in isolation, I don't like, and that's why lockdown, I really was upset about it.
Yeah. No, and clearly I'm sure that affected everybody's ability to work efficiently. We have some questions. Gaurav has a question. During undergraduation, what should a student do in terms of extra work to generate interest in research other than academics?
Yes. So, find out what your interest lies in. Now, mine was clearly in drug discovery. So I went on finding out how the drugs were invented, what all experiments were done. If you could read a simple research paper, you should get a good supervisor, huh? For that matter, for somebody who can guide you, what a person should read pertaining to his own interests. I feel you should have. Otherwise, how will you know what to read or what not to read?
Yeah.
So if you know what you like, you should talk to people and find out if anybody could help you. You could always talk to me and I could guide you to right people. I'm just giving it to you.
We also have a question from Chirag. What skills must be inculcated on entering in the fields of masters as well as research?
Fields that you should have is good reading capacity, able to read research documents, and having an idea as to what you want to do in life. Or reading, okay, if you don't know anything about it, just go on to universities sites and see what a particular person is doing. There are websites now. You guys are so lucky, we didn't have that. We had to talk to our friends and find out, oh, this person here is working on this, xyz in Hafkin is working on this, and then, please introduce me to xyz. So now you have it everything on the website. And I'm sure even everyone, even my students who are researchers and who have their own labs, they will also help, because when you write to them, we think it is our responsibility to inculcate whatever that we have and teach the newcomers to, what you say, um, encourage them to come into this field. We will definitely, you can talk to us. You should have good reading capacity and you should know what you want to do. You will know what you want to do only when you know what others are doing, only when what the societal needs are. Like now you see people do want, COVID is one of the important things, COVID or any other viral infections. Now we have to address that first as a major need, societal need. So many people are aging, and aging disorders like Alzheimer's are coming up. Diabetes, because of the stress, is there, and related complications are there. So you have many things. Nano medicines are coming up, biologicals are coming up. So you have, you know, there is no dearth of finding out what you want to do. Only thing, you should go to websites and find out what people are doing, what is society needing. Only then you will understand. You should have good reading capacity and association. Once you read out, once you read something, have your own points as to what you have got from here, what you have got from whatever that you have read.
All right, I think we have another 3-4 minutes. If anybody wants to ask a question by, verbally unmuting yourself, please raise your hand. We'll be very happy to let you ask your question.
Tia, we have the Aditya's question.
Aditya, sorry.
Yeah. What are the skills?
So I think Aditya's question was probably answered earlier, because I think the question was what skills of an undergraduate student can gather early on to gain a flair of research. I think Gaurav had a similar question.
Yeah.
Okay, so Prajakta has raised her hand. I
Yes,
just
Prajakta.
unmute her.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Actually, madam, I want to ask you about the drug discovery in pharmaceutical chemistry field.
Pharmaceutical chemistry, they generally see there are 2-3 ways of doing it, and people have in silico softwares wherein you can learn, because protein structures are known these days. So whatever your drug substances are there, there is a kind of docking kind of experiments go on. So that is virtual, completely virtual. So you can think of many chemicals that could bind to these proteins, which may be active. And then you
Yes.
could synthesize a library of those chemicals which are important, which you have identified from these docking experiments, from these softwares, and then actually synthesize them and work it out. Meaning, after you synthesize, you have to endorse its activity by wet lab experiments, meaning actual experiments in the lab. So that's how the chemistry kind of experiments go on.
Madam, actually, I just want to ask, means not exactly the uh, drug discovery by docking, but
Okay.
suppose if I want to go for like a regular route, means like common route of synthesis.
Meaning, if I understand you rightly, you want to know the various methods of synthesizing a particular drug for that matter, or what it is? I mean,
it's not like that, madam. Means various methods are there. Means what I mean to say.
You can speak in Marathi if you are not able to. I mean, I understand.
Madam, in drug discovery in chemistry, docking is nowadays mostly popular, but
popular because it doesn't take money, na, and it gives you a fair idea as to what is docking, what could be active, just that.
Okay, but madam, the failure rate is also high in docking.
So that's what I said, na, wet lab, even if you synthesize, na, wet lab experiments are equally important. So high throughput screening is there, simple experiments. So you do that. Are you talking of chemical biology? Are you talking of biological activity of chemicals? Or are you talking of synthesizing chemicals?
Synthesizing, and after that biological activity. Two means I want to work on two things. Means first I want to synthesize the substance, and after that check its biological activity. As I heard from many professors that though docking is popular, but it's rate is,
but what happens, it is the first step in drug discovery, simply because it gives you a whole screen and you can identify the right kind of structure binding to a protein, and then you can synthesize your own and finally even evaluate it. You have to do wet lab experiments, you have to do. You can't just stop at that.
So for that docking purpose, means should I have to take any, means like learn any software or like?
So there are certain softwares which are available freely.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, there are freely available softwares. I offhand I don't have, but you can write to me.
Okay.
And I will definitely answer.
Actually that is what happening. Actually, I'm not understanding. Means where should I get?
I'll just give you my email ID.
Yeah, please, ma'am.
And I'm putting it into the chat box.
Okay.
So you could write to me. Meaning I'll give you the free softwares that are available for everyone. At least you learn about it, how to go about it. It's not very difficult.
All right. So I think Prajakta, you can write to ma'am directly and get
actually just by applying to that, or just means whether without any training I can learn it.
Yes, you can learn it on your own, but of course if you have somebody to talk to you about different small nuances in that software, it would be great. I generally give a mentor for a student to understand, meaning a PhD student for that matter.
Yes.
So it's not very easy, but I'm sure you will learn it on your own.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you, madam. That's what I want to ask.
You will.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you everyone for taking the time to be here. Thank you, Professor Sathaye, for your time. We really appreciate it. I think this is a very, important and also a very inspiring session. I request all of you to switch on your cameras. We'll just take a quick photograph as a memory of this session and before we log off.
Thank you, Priya. It was really, I was little anxious about the whole thing and I was continuously asking Priya, what kind of questions are you going to ask? And she said it will be just simple questions about your journey. But yeah, I'm happy. It went well.
Ma'am, your email ID?
I've given it. See, it's in the chat box. Anuj. Okay. I have not given it to everyone. I've written it for Anuj. 1 minute. I'll just put it for everyone. 1 minute. I just put it. Did you get it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Can I request the others, whoever can, please switch on your cameras. I know all of you may be in different places, but just for a second. Sheetal, you tell us when you're done taking a picture.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So on behalf of Pune College Cluster, thank you everyone. Have a great weekend. And please stay tuned for more events that we do on our website and on our social media platforms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.